Take two. Hey up YouTubers, Simon B here. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all keeping safe out there. Saturday morning, we were supposed to be out riding this morning, but the weather was still no good. It froze again last night. There's been snow on the ground, it's froze, it's melted, it's froze, it's melted, it's froze all week, and it's froze again last night. So this morning was not very good, so we're not out on the lanes. So I have a little bit of a job to do. This job is changing these little beauties. These are the damping. These are the damping rubber that go in your clutch basket on a KTM. I know they're on the 350 EXC-F. I believe they're probably on most other KTMs. So this bike now has nearly 600 hours on it. Who has a KTM with 600 hours on it still riding it? Eh? Comment down below. Have you still got yours? 10,000 miles, just over, I think. I can't remember exactly, but I know it's somewhere. It could be 10 and a half, could be nearly 11,000 miles on it. Let's say nearly 600 hours. And I don't know if these have been changed. I've seen people change them on the internet lately, and so I don't know if these have been changed. If they have or they haven't, I've no idea. So I thought to myself, I think they're £4 each. So what, 4, 6 is 30, not even that, are they? I can't remember. They're not expensive. Need a couple of specialised tools, well, one specialised tool really, to hold your clutch basket and socket set. So I thought I'd get them changed, because if they do go, I believe it can be quite make a bit of a mess. So if you fancy knowing how to change these on your KTM 350 EXC-F, or probably most other KTMs with the same clutch in it, which I think they are the same, stick around and stay tuned.
Like and subscribe.
So I have cheated a little bit, and the reason I have cheated is because I've taken most of it apart at the moment. Now, not a difficult job to do. So what we've done, we've taken off the casing, which is there. Taken off the brake spring, taken off the 8mm bolts, taken the casing off. We've got it lying on its side at the moment so we don't get oil. The oil's still in there. It could do with an oil change, and we're probably going to change it quite soon again. I did a change on it about 10 hours ago. Just changed the oil, didn't change the filter, but we'll do a vid on that if you want to know, or if you want me to do one, I'll stick one down below. We've taken everything out of the clutch. We've taken the clutch friction plates out, everything all in order, because I'm not changing that yet, because there's nothing really wrong with it. And we've taken the lock washer off. We've bent them over and then taken the nut which holds the whole thing together. Now that's tightened up to 100 Newton meters, so you need a bit of a special tool. I got this thing off Amazon. I think it was 11 quid, and it's better using it that way around with the pegs. You see the pegs on that side to hold your clutch basket, just to get it off, because you need to be holding this bit inside. Now if it was the outside, it's not really a problem, but it's the inside that you need to hold, and then all that happens is this comes off. There is, as you can see, a washer there, so don't lose that. The best thing is to take that washer off and stick it back onto the bike so you don't lose it. So we'll take this over to the bench and have a look and see what the rubbers are like. So all this does now is you push it out from the back, and it comes in two pieces. And there are your rubbers. So as you can see, they are a little bit loose on them, and they are a little bit worn, and it's not my eyes, or is that the way they are? So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You've got 6 of them. We've ordered 6, and these are the best of the rubbers that go into them. So what we're going to do, we're just going to take the old ones out, which are quite loose. Clean up a little bit. Not getting mixed up. And they only go in one way because of the indentation there, which they hold on to there. So as you can see, the way that they're shaped and the way that that has an indentation on it. It goes through. So yeah, they can only go one way around. So because they only go one way around, you can't get it wrong. Now that's weird. Yeah, look at that. Look at the difference in them. This side here is much thinner than this, so the amount that it's worn. But both sides are worn. You can see the difference in the thickness of the rubber, and that's why they need changing. So I don't know if this has been changed before. It's never been changed, or what it has been changed. You see the gap in the back. Focuses in. Come on, come on. Look at the difference in them between. That's the old one. This is the new one. So yeah, they've worn a bit, haven't they? All they do is need changing. Just swap them straight over, and all this does, hopefully, this will now slide back in, and it'll be dead tight because of the new rubbers. It hasn't gone home yet. Ooh. There we go. So that's all pushed back in, all back home. It was tight going back in, so now there's no movement at all in it. So we'll get this back on the biker. So we've changed the rubbers on the internal, and now we can put this back together again now. So the clutch, the rubber change is relatively easy once you get it off. So I didn't show you how to take it off because I got halfway through this, and I thought, oh well, better bring you guys and girls along. So this goes back in. Don't forget the washer, which would have been behind there that you took off, that you put there. This will go back on any which way you want it to. This is the old, so that's the old lock washer we're going to change. You can buy them in the, separately from all KTM spares. There's the part number. I'll put the part numbers down below what you need to do for this. It has an indentation in the internal of the basket itself, which the lock washer will lock into. So as you can see, it has a one side, so that goes in and lock against it. Then the nut will go on. So these are the I showed you before, the special tool you need to buy, 11 quid. You probably only use it a few times, depending on what sort of maintenance you're doing. But holds all sorts of clutch baskets. So I'll put a link down below where I got this from. It was just a cheap old thing. And the best way to use it round is the pins on the side, because the pins on the side will grip better onto the internal of the basket. Oh, it was this side, wasn't it, that we got a better. Yeah, I tried to use the forks on the side, but it didn't really work very well, so we've used this side. So the rubbers haven't actually gone all the way in. I've tried to push them so as far as I could, but the difference is it's relatively harder than what it was. So this now needs 100 Newton meters. So we need a torque wrench. I was watching somebody this morning was doing something else on a clutch, and it was 120 Newton meters was their torque setting. So there we go, 100 Newton meters. So as you can see, that's why you need a tool to hold the internal of the clutch basket, because if you don't have one of them, then it's going to be quite difficult, extremely difficult, to get to the right torque setting. If you don't have one, borrow one. You can get them now, they're relatively cheap. I looked in Aldi, there was one in Aldi this morning, I think it was about 100. I saw one in Aldi this morning and it was, I think it was 22 quid. So you don't need to spend hundreds of pounds on one. The more you spend on them, the better they are, the longer they'll last, but it's entirely up to you if you're only using it now and again. That's the internal torqued up to 100 newton meters, which is supposed to be. So now what we need to do is to pull these tabs back on the locking nut to stop that from coming undone, because you won't want that coming undone whilst you're out riding. And I believe the best way to sort these tabs out is a pair of grips, something like that, which has a long jaw on them, which you can adjust, which you can get hold of the back of the nut. So they say, there we go, and pull it round like that. There we go. The other one's not on a flat, but it's up. That one's on a flat, it's not going to come undone. The other half of it is into the basket itself, so it's not going to come undone. It's up to its right torque settings, so everything's going to be good there. So it usually is steel plate, friction plate, steel plate, friction plate. So put the dowels back in, which hold onto the steel plate. A bit weird this clutch because well, it's not weird, it's just a bit different than the other clutches that I've done. The other clutches I've done don't have these steel bobbins on, but they seem to hold the steel plates and allows them to move freely within the clutch, and the outside of the basket allows the friction plates to move. So fast forward this. You don't need to watch me putting all these in separately. It's a bit tedious, so yeah, see you in a bit. Once you get everything in, just check the thrust washer on the end of there, that it's running freely. They are replaceable, but as long as it's not grinding and it's not worn, you don't need to replace it. So make sure that goes back in before you put the friction plate back on. So we put this back together, and we had I thought we had a little bit of a problem, and I found the problem. The dowels that I put back in weren't actually seated correctly, which was then sticking out, which was making the spring do. So anyway, we've sorted that out now. So I just need to, hopefully this will tighten up now on number 2, and not be a problem that it was before, and everything should be okay. So yeah, when things don't go right, just stop, think about what's going on, and go back a step or two, and sort of realise what you've done, because we're not all perfect, and just have a think of what's possibly gone wrong. And what had gone wrong was the dowels were into the inner basket correctly. So now that's down on number 2. That spring there is relatively flat, as it should be. M6 nuts, 10 newton meters. It seems pretty tight. Once you get to that position, they're not that tight. Yeah, so that's clutch back together again. Everything's the way it should have been, and the way. So yeah, if you've ever come across something that's not going right, just go back a couple of steps, understand what you've done. When I looked at it, I thought there was something not right. There was something not there, and that's what it was. The dowels weren't seated correctly, which was pushing against the spring on the outside, so it was pushing it more, so it was coming out. So we just put them back in and unstood. So yeah, so that's done. This casing itself has an O-ring on it, so I'll just check it before it goes back on to make sure it's all intact and there's not really a problem with it. I was going to say, if you leave the I was going to say, if you leave all the screws into it, you can know where they all come out of, but they've all just fallen out. There's only 2 side screws on the casing itself, so you can't really get it wrong. There's only a short one, and there's only 3 short and 3 long, so it's a 50-50 chance of getting it wrong or getting it right. And put the casing back on. Working on these small bikes and 8mm sockets, this is quite handy. It's just I think it's Draper. I think it's Draper. I don't know. Just a T-bar. It has the blue thing on it allows you to be able to spin. It just makes things a little bit faster and a little bit easier. There's nothing worse than a little ratchet going, using a little ratchet and backwards and forwards. With this, you can just spin them straight on, and it's the same as taking them off. They just come off as fast and as good as what they could do. This, I believe, is the same as the other stuff, so these are a 10 Newton meters as well. Crisscross pattern. And that's that. Long nose pliers and the spring back in for the rear brake. Make sure that's fully seated before, and just check it. It's not going to pop out. Now, worse of getting out in the first corner on the way out and it popping off. Just make sure that's okay. And that's the rubbers installed. Yeah. So there you go, YouTubers. Bit of maintenance on a Saturday morning if you can't ride. Things need doing on these KTMs. So them rubbers that we did take out, they were worn. So hopefully now you're going to notice the difference, even though I didn't feel anything before, but it's one of those things that need doing, and I don't think they've ever been done. Well, I don't know. So I know they've been done now. Dead easy. The only specialised tool you need is one of them to hold the inside the clutch basket while you undo the nut, which is 100 Newton meters, which is quite tight. And it just makes the job a little bit easier. And a torque wrench, but like I say, you don't need an expensive one. I think 22 quid in Aldi this morning, 200 Newton meters, anything from. But the problem is with these bikes, you need something from 4 Newton meters all the way up to about 20 Newton meters, because all the little M8, M10s, M6s are all quite low. So you need a small one. So a lot of these big ones don't do small, and one of the best places to buy a small torque wrench from that does probably about 4 to 25 is something like Planet X for push bikes, and I think theirs is only about 17 quid for a small one, and then you only need something like this now and again for 100 Newton meters. So yeah, so some tips there, all free, don't have to pay for them. So thanks for watching. I hope you thought that was quite informative, and if you did think that was, please give us a big thumbs up. Thank you very much. If you're new here, there's a few of you, I think because I've been putting a few shorts out lately that aren't subscribers. 97% of people watching everything that I put out at the moment aren't subscribed, so go on, click that subscribe button, ring that bell every time up, and if you ring that bell every time I upload a notification note, every time I upload a video you will get a notification, but it is regular 7:30 on a Saturday morning. Don't forget, check out our sponsors, www.epicmotorcycletours.co.uk. This weekend that I'm filming this, new dates out for Green Lane tours around the Lake District, around some of the best lanes of Lake District can offer, and dates for the 1 and 2 day tours round the Lake District and into Yorkshire. So check them out. Fancy that, get on it, give them a bell and they'll look after you, no problem. Once again, thanks for watching. If you're riding out there, don't forget, ride safe, keep safe, be safe, and as they say, we'll see you soon.
Like and subscribe.